Good afternoon, ma'am and class. I'm Jet Vincent Alvar Mabayao, the Group 6 reporter. And today, we are going to discuss the Chapter 5 entitled Crisis Management Organization in the Philippines for Human-Induced Crisis. But before that, is magtanaw sa tag video presentation.
Sa pagsasara ng 2017, muling bubuksan ang bahaging ito ng Marawi City na pinagkait sa mga residente nitong mga nakaraang buwan dahil sa digmaan sa pagitan ng gobyerno at ng mga miyembro ng Maute Group.
Limang buwang na mayagpag ang karahasan. Ang tanging tunog na maririnig dito ay ang walang humpay na putok ng baril. Pagpatak ng bomba mula sa himpapawid. At ang taghoy ng mga taga rito na naipit sa bakbakan.
Maraming balita ang bumandera nitong taon, pero walang mas gumulat sa sambayanan kundi ang mga kwento dito sa Marawi. Higit kalahating taon na binantayan ang laban ng mga sundalo, mga bakwit at mga kawani ng gobyerno.
Saluin mo!
Mga buwan na puno ng pagdurusa at takot.
Mga buwan kung kailan na naig ang pag-asa at kabayanihan.
Mga buwan na hindi na maibabalik pero gustong mabawi ng mga taga Marawi.
Evacuation center tulad nito ang naging tahanan ng maraming taga-Marawi nitong taon. Napaalis kasi sila ng wala sa oras nang sakupin ng Maute Group ang lungsod.
Hindi namin inisip na matagal yun kasi akala namin rido lang. May bang normal na putukan? Then, hindi pa rin nahinto yung putukan, mas lalong lumala.
Maraming nag-akala na mananatili lang sila rito ng ilang araw. Pero ang araw, naging linggo. Ang linggo, naging buwan. Taong 2017, bakwit ang naging tawag sa kanila. At ito, ang naging address nila. Telang dingding, higa ang karton. Ito ang tinutuluyan ni Tarhata at ng kanyang pamilya. Pero hindi nila ito kayang tawaging tahanan. Para sa kanilang mag-anak, hindi ito ang normal.
Para po kami sardina sa siksikan po. Sobrang hirap talaga sa bakwit. Kahit pinapasaya namin ang sarili namin. So, kung hirap na hirap kami sa pag-iga.
Ang araw-araw na almusal, tanghalian at hapunan nila ay ang ayuda ng gobyerno na bigas at delata. Malaking bagay Lalo't walang-wala sila. May 23, nang magbago ang lahat.
So, tapos naman nato natanaw ang video presentation. So, let's begin our discussion. So, Crisis Management Organization. We all know naman what is Crisis Management Organization because gi-discuss na siya sa previous reporter sa grupo nila, Jory. But mag-recap gyapon ta. What is Crisis Management Organization? Ingon pa gani ni Jory na ang Crisis Management Organization, it is a group of organization na naay authority or naay responsibility or accountability if in case na mga crisis or emergency na mag-arise. So what is human-induced crisis? So when say human-induced crisis, it is the damage or dangers caused directly or indirectly by human actions. So kita ang rason nga nung nagka-cause ana ng mga crisis. So at what you can see sa video presentation is because of the terrorist attack is nagka-cause yun siyang crisis sa Pilipinas, especially sa Marawi City. So daghan tao ang nagutom, daghan tao ang namatay, daghan tao ang nawalaan og balay. In short, daghan jud ang nag-suffer because of our human actions like that terrorist attack. So let's proceed to the learning objectives. So at the end of this chapter, the student will be able to explain and appreciate the crisis management organization in the Philippines for human-induced crisis, identify the difference between the National Peace and Order Council and the National Security Council. Number 3 is describe the components of national level crisis management committees. Number 4, explain the components of local level crisis management committees. And last is to appreciate the role of barangay in crisis management for human in those crises. So let's proceed to National Peace and Order Council. The National Peace and Order Council address various aspects of national security, particularly those affecting peace and order. It also address different aspects of crime prevention and suppression. So now let's discuss what is the purpose nga nung na-establish ang National Peace and Order Council. So the National Peace and Order Council was established by virtue of Executive Order 309. Signed siya ni President Corazon Aquino on November 11, 1987. So the council was created to promote peace and order, ensure public safety, and strengthen the local government capabilities in addressing crime and violence. So it served as the venue for coordinating and integrating efforts of various law enforcement agencies, LGUs, and other sector to effectively combat criminality. But on January 5, 2009 is gi-reorganize siya. Gi-organize siya by Executive Order 773 signed ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So, signed siya ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So, the purpose of this reorganization is to make it more effective and responsive to evolving security challenges. So, the reorganization aimed to enhance the council capacity to coordinate and oversee the peace and order dili lang sa national, sa regional, provincial, city, and syempre sa municipal level. So now, let's proceed to the functions of the National Peace and Order Council. Number 1 is contribute to the strategies of the National Security Council that would effectively respond to the peace and order problems. So, now, let's discuss first what is the National Security Council. So, the National Security Council is na siya pagkapriyo gihapon sa National Peace and Order Council. But, ang nakalain lang sa iya is dako ang lawak or ang sakop niya when it talks about sa security because ang gina-focus niya is our national security. So, i-discuss ra na ako ni magdig-deeper lang ko ani later kay naman po ni sa akong topic. So contribute to the strategies of the National Security Council that will effectively respond to the Peace and Order Council. So syempre, one of their function is to contribute the strategies that na pwede makatabang or na pwede makatabang in order para ma-maintain ang peace and order sa isa ka nasod. Para ma-maintain ang peace and order sa isa ka nasod. So in short, gina-ensure nila that all the strategies or mga plans na nahimo is dapat ma-implement siya and ma-implement siya and effectively po siya mag-function. So number 1 is coordinate and monitor the peace and order plans. So syempre, for example, diri is isa na sa ilang tungkulin is to mag-organize or mag-monitor ng mga plano na may kinalaman when it talks about sa seguridad ng bansa. Because one of their main goal is syempre to maintain the peace and order sa ato ang country. Number 3 is, and next is, provide a forum for interdisciplinary dialogue and deliberation of major issues and problem affecting the peace and order. So diri, for example, na mga problema or na mga issues na pa ingon nato na murag na mga issues na ato ang na ma-encounter. So diri sila is maghatag na sila mga programs or mag-open sila mga plano or example, maghahatag pud na sila mga plano na pagistoryahan or na ilahang pagistoryahan in order para ma-resolve to na mga problem or na mga issues in para ma-maintain ang peace and order sa ato ang nasod. So the main purpose lang ani is magkaroon ng deep understanding and syempre proper coordination sa mga iba't ibang sektor. Number 3, last is perform such other duties and functions as the President may direct. So diri is, for example, the President is designate the National Peace and Order Council para maghimo og mga mga programs na related sa crime prevention, law enforcement enhancement. So the National Peace and Order Council is sila ang responsibility ana para maghimo og mga strategic plans and recommendation in order para kidto na mga kuan is ma-implement nila and effectively siya maga-function or para dili masayang ang ilahang programs na gihimo. So pero gina-consider pud gyapon nila ang mga previous na mga programs na nag-exist. So now, let's proceed to the membership of the National Peace and Order Council. So, makita naman ninyo. So, kamo nalibasa ana. Yeah. So, now let's proceed to the National Security Council. So, the National Security Council is the principal advisory body on the proper coordination and integration of plans and policies affecting national security. So as I've said earlier na ang National Security Council is dako jud ang sakop when it talks about sa ato ang national security because ang iyang gina-address is our national security or ato ang nasod. While ang National Peace and Order Council is ang iyaha lang gina-address is to maintain the peace and order, to ensure the public safety dili lang sa national, regional, municipal, city and municipal level. So one of pinakasayon na example, for example, sa isa ka pamilya na mama ug papa ug duha ka anak. So, si mama is ang National Peace and Order Council. Diba, if na-conflict sa iyang mga anak, like mag-away, is diba si mama dayon ang na ay responsibility. Siya din ang mag-ask if unsa bay rason nganong nagka-cause ato, and then siya pod ang maghatag og strategy in order na kidto ng mga problem or kidto ng mga ilahang giawhayan is marisolba. So while si Papa is ang National Security Council. So ang iyang responsibility na is from external threat. For example, na gusto mangawat. So ang naa responsibility ana is si Father. Siya na ang na responsibility para protektahan kung unsa ba ang naa sa sulod sa panimalay. So in short, mas dako ang lawak when it talks about sa security na gigampanan sa National Security Council. So it is the advisory body to the president because naghatag siya og mga advice or unsa ba ang best way or angay himuon, angay buhaton in order para ma-maintain or for the security of our country na pod. So there are two distinct bodies composing of National Security Council. The number one is the National Security Council Secretariat. So it is the permanent body that provides technical support to the council proper. So it ensures that the policies formulated by the NSC and approved by the President are effectively and efficiently implemented. So the National Security Council Secretariat is headed siya by Director General or the National Security Advisor. So kini is ang purpose lang niya is to ensure that ang tanan mga plano or mga plano na nahimo or nabuhat sa National Security Council or the council proper is aprobado siya sa Pangulo and then mabisa siyang and effectively and efficiently implemented po siya. So, in short, the rule lang sa National Security Council Secretariat is parang support system lang sila because sila naghatag og mga analysis, mga papers, if in order para kitong mga plans or mga what we call this, mga plans or mga strategies na nahimo sa council proper is ingon pa nato mas mapaligon. So now what is council proper? Council proper, it is the collegial body chaired by the president. So kini is dako jud ang iyang role because ang na siya responsibility and power para maghimo og mga mga policies or mga plans or mga policies. So in short, mas dako ang gigampanan sa council proper kaysa sa National Security Secretariat. For example lang nato pinaka-sign is kitong sa family na pod. So sa family is si mother ang National Security Council Secretariat while si father is ang council proper. Di ba mapansin ninyo sa isa ka panimalay is si father ang tagahimo og mga policies or mga rules sa panimalay while si mother is siya lang ang mag-critic if kinaba na rules na gihimo ni father is makamaayo ba na sa iyang mga anak. If dili ba, if pagtanaw niya makamaayo is syempre i-implement pod na niya, siya ang mag-implement. That is the role of the Security Council Secretariat. So now let's proceed to the duties and responsibilities of the National Security Council. Number one is advise the President with respect to the integration of domestic, foreign, military, political, economic, social, and educational policies relating to the national security. So dere is gina-advise nila ang President na dapat dili lang siya mag-focus sa political or sa military. Dapat ginahatagan po niya pansin ang iba't ibang sektor like sa economics or sa social because mas madali ma-resolve ang isa ka problema or mga issues if gina-consider nimo sila tanan. Gina-consider nimo tanan. For example na lang sa terrorist attack. So we all know naman but terrorist attack is dili lang jud ang political and military ang maapektuhan. Di ba maapektuhan po ang atong economics and social. So diri if gina-consider na sa mga presidente tanan is syempre mas mapadali lang ma-resolve ang isa ka problema because na proper coordination sa iba't ibang sektor. Number 2 is evaluate and analyze all information, event, and incident in terms of the risk they pose or implication upon and or threats to the overall security and stability of the nation. So there is one of their function is duties and responsibility is to evaluate and analyze all information, event, and incident because in order to know the potential threats na pwede ma-encounter sa ato ang country because acknowledging potential threats man god is best way man god siya if in case maabot man siya is nanadayon tay plano or murag ingon pa ready na dayon ta ana na mga problems. Number 2 is next is formulate and coordinate the implementation of policies on matter of common interest to the various ministries, departments, and agencies of the government concerned with national security and to make recommendation to the President in connection to it. So, there is common naman dyan ning coordinate, formulate and coordinate the implementation of policies of common interest. For example, kuan cyber attack. So, we all know naman that cyber attack is dili naman jud siya common sa karon na generation because we are living in a modern era kung asa ang technology is ato na jong ginapuyan. So for example na yung cyber attack, so it's very important na dapat makipag-coordinate po ang president sa mga agencies na naay authority ani like the Department of Information and Communication Technology or the DICT or the National Intelligence Coordination Agency or the NICE. So it's very important na makipag-coordinate jud ang president ana because ilaha man ang specialization or sila ang nay expertise when it talks ana ng mga problems like sa cyber attack. So in that way is mas mapadali nila ma-resolve ang isa ka problema or ang possible threats or issues na pwede ma-encounter sa ato ang nasod or sa ato ang country. So now let's proceed to the sa ato ang country. So now let's proceed to ensure that policy adopted by the NEC on the national security are effectively and efficiently implemented. So lisod sad og dili. They ensure na dapat all the policies is or all the policies, plans, strategies is dapat masubaybayan na nila in order to know if kidto ba na mga plano na ilang gihimo or nabuhat is kuan ba, effective ba siya or nakamaayo ba siya when talks about the security sa ato ang country because sayang ang ilang kahago or ang ilang kahago if kidto ng mga plano na ilang gihimo or gibuhat is parang wala man lang ingon pa nato wala man lang magamit or walay purpose. So last is make recommendation and or render such other report as the president may direct. So diri is the purpose lang ani is to the purpose lang ani is upang mabigyan ng gabay at suporta ang president sa paggawa ng mga desisyon or hakbang na may connection with talks about sa ato ang country or sa security of our country or sa security of our country. So now let's proceed to the national level crisis management committees. So number A is Executive Committee, National Security Council or the National Crisis Management Committee. So the Executive Committee, National Security Council as the National Crisis Management Committee or EXICOM or NCMC. So dili na nako siya basahon, i-discuss na lang nako siya diretso. So kini siya is dako jud ang iyahang murag siya dako jud ang iyang function, ang iyahang gigampanan or role, ang iyahang gigampanan because it is the highest executive policy making body that address man-made crisis at the national level. So masabtan naman siya if in case na mga crisis na mag-arise, especially if yung man-made crisis siya, is siya jud ang una magahimo og mga policies in order para kidto ng mga crisis is syempre mas madali siya ma-resolve or mas mapadali siya ingon pa nato mas mapadali siya ma-resolve or mas madali nato ma-address kana na problema. So kina na problema, and then pagkatapos ana is ikuha na nila sa president what we call this, i-recommend na nila sa president, and then ang president ana is i-disseminate na niya sa mga different agencies na pwede ma-involve in order para ma-resolve to na mga problem or ma-resolve to na mga threats or challenges or issues na pwede ma-encounter sa ato ang nasod. But kito na mga information na disseminate sa president is recommended jud siya sa execom or the NCMC, and after that if tapos na siya ma-disseminate sa president is pagkatapos ana ma-disseminate sa president is execute din na siya sa mga different agencies na ay involved ato na mga na pwede ma-involve in order para ma-resolve to na mga problems or threats na pwede ma-encounter sa ato ang nasod. So that's all to my sa ako ang report, and thank you for listening.
So the next topic will be the cabinet officer, who are primarily responsible for any certain types of threats or crisis. So first is the executive secretary, the cabinet officer who is primarily responsible for threats of terrorism. Threats of terrorism, which may include terrorist attack, suicide bombing, or kidnapping. So if na yung mga instances nga na, one of their function sa ato ang executive secretary is ilahang gina-identify ang mga involved ato, just like for example, terrorist attack. Ilahang gina-identify ang katunga grupo nga involved atong terrorist attack, including ilang leader o kung kinsa pang nagahatag og support sa ilaha. Then if napoy mga victim sa katunga itong terrorist attack, nagahatag sad ni sila og mga financial assistance, medical care o services, including counseling, because threats of terrorism is dili lang siya nagadala og kanang threats sa ato environment, but also it can affect sa ato ang mental health ug maka-cause siya trauma sa mga tao. Then threats to maritime borders. So one of the example is smuggling. Smuggling involves illegal activities such as the transportation of contraband, which can include drugs, weapons, people, and other illegal substances. The executive secretary, their responsibility is nagakandak ni sila og mga patrols, ginamonitor o ginatrack nila ang situation, ug nag-receive ni sila og mga updates from our task force, ensuring that they are aware of any developments and the operation progress. Then, threats concerning OFWs, these are mga overseas worker nga naka-receive og mga physical abuse, mga psychological trauma. So ang executive secretary is their way of taking action is resolving OFW's grievances. So the executive secretary receives and resolves complaints from our OFWs regarding employment-related issues such as wage disputes, contract violations, and labor exploitation. So next is the Secretary of National Defense. So sila ang responsible for protecting the country from any certain types of internal and external threat. So internal threat, these are mga cyber threats or hackings of natural disasters, while external threat, isa ka sample is terrorism. So their way of taking action is by collecting, analyzing the information to identify and understand the potential threats. Then also to mitigate those threats, they have a public safety measures. Nag-implement din sila mga security measures such as increased surveillance, public awareness campaigns, and emergency preparedness plans. Then as well as threats to maritime border, ang ilang ginabuhat usually if na mga instances nga na they usually do patrols and surveillance. Nag-use na sila mga surveillance technology such as mga drones o satellites for them to monitor always the situation of the area. Then Secretary of Interior and Local Government, in order to mitigate those threats, makipag-coordinate ni sila sa ang police and local law enforcement agencies to maintain public order and respond quickly to disturbances. And also nag-text ni sila actions through public safety measures, implementing crowd measures such as designated protest areas and emergency response plans to manage large gatherings safely. Then next is the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. So their responsibility is nagahatag sila legal assistance, ensuring that OFWs have access to legal assistance if they face legal issues abroad, and also naga-coordinate din sila sa ato ang mga Philippine embassies to provide assistance including evacuation if necessary. Then in case to threats to maritime border, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs is naga-take ni sila actions through public communication, keeping the public informed about the status of maritime border and the government actions to protect them. Then also negotiating and securing bilateral agreement. So when we say bilateral agreement, these are formal agreements or treaties between two countries with other nations to enhance maritime security and cooperation. The next one is the Secretary of Health. The Secretary of Health is primarily responsible for addressing threats to public health. Then some of their responsibilities and actions during such threats are coordinating with local health authorities, hospitals, and other agencies to ensure a unified response. Then also providing accurate and timely information to the public about the threat. Then preventive measures and actions. Furthermore, nagakonduct ni sila mga public health interventions such as mga vaccinations, campaigns, and advisories to control the spread of disease. The next is the Secretary of Finance and Trade Industry. So the Secretaries of Finance and Trade and Industry is na sila mga distinct rules or actions to mitigate the threats to economy. Ang Secretary of Finance is working with the central bank to manage interest rates, money supply, and inflation to promote economic stability. Then kaning Secretary of Trade and Industry is naga-export promotion, supporting local industries and accessing international markets through trade missions and market development strategies. Both secretaries work with government agencies or international partners to develop and implement strategies to address economic threats and promote sustainable economic growth. The next one is the Secretary of Energy. Then some of threats to energy supply is supply chain disruption. So where interruptions in the supply chain due to transportation issue or labor strikes, it can affect the delivery of fuels and energy resources. The Secretary of Energy is primarily responsible in mitigating threats to energy supply through promote incentives the development and use of diverse energy sources such as renewable energy like solar to reduce reliance on single resources and enhance supply resilience. Then National Security Advisor, the Secretariat advised by the National Security Advisor has a responsible in protecting national security, handling crisis, and coordinating responses to threats. The next is the Subcommittee, National Crisis Management Committee. Ang subcommittee is nag-focus ni sila sa specific issue, while ang National Committee or the National Crisis Management Committee is coordinate ni sila sa tuang national, nag-respond sila sa bisan unsa nga crisis o emergencies. Then their tasks are the followings. First is the is nagakandak sila og mga strategies which is kaning horizon scanning, where is ilahang gina-identify ang potential risk that may impact the society. Then monitoring interagency department collaborations help ensures that government agencies are working together effectively to protect the country from threats or risk. Then the goal of the identifying those unresolved issues is to ensure that the organization is functioning efficiently and effectively. Then informs the EXICOM or the NCMC about the rising crisis that may require a response, o nagaprovide sa ni sila recommendations on how to respond to the crisis. Then identifying the crisis by recognizing the problem or the issues that needs to be addressed. So this means that they need to follow the initial planning steps in according to the guidelines and instructions provided by the EXICOM. Then last one is by monitoring the implementation of the decisions, that the person can ensure that the decision is being executed correctly. Then Anti-Terrorism Council. So the ATC is like a team leader that helps the government respond quickly and effectively to any threats and ensures that everyone is working together to keep the country safe.
Good day everyone, I'm Isaac Rogadolier and I will continue the report of Ms. Aymerin Corlares. So function of the ATC, or also known as Anti-Terrorism Council. So first is ang function nila is ang mag-create og plan or also programs na mga programs na kanang kontra-laban para sa terorista sa atong bansa. Second is makikoordinate sila sa departments like PNP para malabanan ang terorismo at of course mapanatili ang kapayapaan at seguridad ng ating bansa laban sa terorismo. Number 3 is of course gina-investigate nila and gina-prosecute nila ang mga tao na accused or napriso tungod sa mga terorismo and ginamonitor nila ang ilahang mga cases. 4 is gina-establish nila and maintain nila ang information system on terrorism like terrorist activities and their operation, so that if ever na ay plans or operation ang terorismo, of course makaredy sila daan and of course prepare sila. And number 5 is those people nga suspected ana nga crime or member sa terorista is gina-freeze nila ang bank accounts, property or etc. nga own sa isa ka tao nga member sa terorista. Number 6 is nagagrant sila award sa mga tao nga naay information about sa terrorismo or unsay activities nila is ginatagaan nila og award. Of course, lastly is gina-establish nila ang ilang cooperation and assistance to all nation para malabanan ang mga terrorism nga activities, which is ang international terrorism. So next is Overseas Preparedness and Response Team. Ang OPRT isa itong mga ahensya na binuo ng Philippines para makahelp sa mga OFW nga nabiktima or naka-experience o mga sakuna or crisis or mga emergency situation. Like for example, Red Cross. Of course, ang Red Cross is ilang primary goal is ang mag-help sa mga tao. So, ang ilaha is mag-ato sila dito sa country nga naapektuhan, especially ang mga apektado is ang mga OFW para mag-help sa ilaha in terms sa mga emergency situation. So, the chairperson of OPRT is the Executive Secretary. So, the Executive Secretary is siya yung may pinakamataas na opisyal sa gabinete ng Pangulo ng Pilipinas. So, sila ang may kapangyarihan nga magplano, makipag-coordinate sa mga members ani nga team. So, of course, sila din ang may kakayahan at kaalaman upang pamunuan ang isang team at siguraduhing maayos at epektibo ang pagtugon nila sa mga emergency crisis situation sa ibang bansa. Sila ang nagabuhat og mga strategy para or mga hakbang na dapat gawin para sa kaligtasan at kapakanan ng mga OFW sa ibang bansa. So, the members of OPRT first is Presidential Advisor on Overseas Filipino Workers Concern. So, ang ilahang role aning team is of course sila ang nagatutok sa mga specific needs at concern ng mga OFW. Like for example, ang natural disaster like bagyo, lindol na apektado ang mga OFW. So of course sila ang makipag-coordinate, mag-focus sa mga pangangailangan sa mga OFW, and of course sila ang nag-focus po sa mga operations at pagbibigay ng assistance sa mga OFW na naapektuhan na kalamidad. So the next one is Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Their role ani nga team is if ever na ay crisis nga na hitabo sa ibang country, and of course apektado dyan po ng atong mga kababayan or mga OFW, sila ang makipag-coordinate at makipagtulong sa ubang members para maligtas and of course maprotektahan po na itong mga OFWs. The next one is Secretary of Labor and Employment. So of course, if ever na kalabidad sa other country and naapektuhan ang atong mga OFW, of course, matik na nga maapektuhan po ang ilahang work. Of course, ang labor and employment para mag-help sa ilaha kung unsang ilang dapat buhaton, maghatag sila og advice sa mga OFW, and of course naghatag po sila og assistance na naapektuhan ana nga. The next one is Secretary of National Defense. So of course, the Secretary of National Defense is ang primary goal nila is ang mag-help sa mga OFWs na naka-experience ng mga emergency situation or mga domestic violence. So ang Secretary of National Defense is pwede siya mapangayuwag help sa mga OFW nga naka-experience og mga emergency situation. So ang ilahang kuan is mag-help sila, maghatag sila assistance, and of course matagaan sila justice or matagaan sila mga needs sa mga OFW. Next is Department of Justice. As what I have said a while ago, if ever ang mga OFW naka-experience og mga emergency situation or domestic violence, of course, ang Secretary of Justice is ginafokusan dyan na nila ang mga concern sa mga OFW nga naka-experience ana. Of course, ginatabangan nila nga masik nila ang justice nga dapat para sa ilaha. And of course, help nila ginatagaan og assistance ang mga OFW nga naka-experience ana. So the next is Secretary of Interior and Local Government. So as we all know, the DILG is malawak na talaga yung kaalaman nila tungkol sa at karanasan tungkol sa mga emergency response at disaster operation. So ang Secretary of Interior and Local Government is dako siyang help sa OPRT, which is ang Secretary of Interior and Local Government is of course nag-help sa ilaha by giving evacuation procedures at pagbibigay ng mga emergency assistance at pagpaplano upang safe and naghahatag og needs sa mga Pinoy sa panahon ng crisis sa ibang bansa, which is affected ang mga OFW. Lastly is Secretary of Budget and Management. So the goal of Secretary of Budget Management sa OPRT is sila ang may kakayahan na humawak at mag-budget sa mga funds or mga resources. Of course, sila po ang magaplano kung saan paggamit ang mga pundo, which is para makahelp sila sa overseas like example sa laing country naka-experience og crisis and affected ang atong mga OFW. So ang Secretary of Budget and Management is sila ang plano kung saan paggamit ang pundo, kung unsay pamaliton, kung unsay buhaton para matagaan og fair na assistance ang atong mga OFW nga affected sa isa ka crisis. So the functions of the OPRT is first is naga-create sila og strategies and programs or plans kung unsa ang dapat na solusyon sa mga situation, like for example natural disaster, civil unrest, armed conflicts, and other similar crises in the foreign countries, which is makaapekto sa ato ang mga OFW. Next is of course their plans, regulations, and other strategies is mahibalan or coordinate sila sa and approved by the president, and of course gina-monitor po nila and gina-implement nila accordingly. And next is their individual plans is gina-review nila and para mahandaan nila ang mga natural disaster or mga emergency situation and to be submitted by the Philippine embassies and consulates general. And lastly, their plans is need nila ma-spread sa publiko upang masiguraduhin ligtas ang mga Pilipino na sa panahon ng crisis. The next one is Interagency Energy Contingency Committee. So, isa itong community na binubuo ng iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan, which is ang ilahang is magplano, kumilos at magtulong-tulungan sa pagharap ng mga emergency situation. So, the chairperson of Interagency Energy Contingency Committee is the Department of Energy. So, ang pangunang ahensya sa gobyerno. So, the DOE is the pangunahing ahensya sa gobyernong na responsible sa pagplano, pagtugon sa mga issue. And ang DOE ay may karapatan na mamuno, magbigay hakbang at gabay sa na dapat gawin sa panahon ng mga sakuna or crisis sa energy. Ang pagiging chairperson ng DOE sa IECC is nagbibigay ng otoridad at kakayahan na ahensya na magbuhat og mga actions dayon at magkipag-coordinate sa laing department upang masolusyonan ang problema at supply at demand ng bansa na affected ng crisis. So, the members of IECC is first is DOF, or also known as Department of Finance. So, ang DOF is matugunan ang crisis lalong-lalo sa nasa mga ekonomiya na crisis. Sila ang taga-plano, taga-pag-budget, paggamit ng pondo, and of course, sila ang nagagamit sa mga sila ang nagaplano sa paggamit ang pondo sa panahon ng crisis. Sila po ang financial advice kung unsay buhaton para ma-budget nila and of course masolusyonan nila ang crisis na na-encounter sa isa ka country. So next is Department of Budget and Management. So ang Department of Budget and Management is sila ang nag-focus sa funds. So kung gaina ang Department of Finance is ang pag-budget and paggamit sa mga pondo, ang Department of Budget and Management is focus po sila sa pondo labi na sa crisis, and ang kanang pondo nga ilang gifokusan is gina-evaluate nila and gina-monitor nila kung ang kana ba nga pundo is nahatag na sa isa ka community or country nga affected ana nga crisis. And of course, their monitoring and evaluation is nagahelp pud sa ilaha para makabalo sila kung unsay gigamit, kung aha gigamit, and of course mapanatili nila ang mga pondo nga magamit pa nila in the near future. And lastly is Department of Trade and Industry. So, ang Department of Trade and Industry shall monitor the effect of price and other commodities as a result of any supply. Like for example, isa ka country naapektuhan og kalamidad. Of course, ang DTI is sila ang naga-check sa mga prices, like, diba, for sure man jud nga pag naay maapektuhan nga kuan, of course mamahal man jud ang mga baligya. So ang DTI is sila ang naga-monitor sa mga presyo sa isa ka business para safe para goods Japon, like even though naka-experience ng calamity ang isa ka community, na Japon ang presyo ba, like dili mo taas, kung unsay joy presyo nga dapat nga presyo mo Japon jud ang presyo. That's all, thank you.
Good morning everyone. Good morning ma'am. My name is Vincent Kinemseba and this is the continuation of the report of Group 6 about Chapter 5 entitled Crisis Management Organization in the Philippines for Human-Induced Crisis. So the assigned topic to me is all about the Interagency Energy Contingency Committee or the IECC in the part of the responsibilities of the IECC members. So some of these departments are already discussed by my groupmates, Ms. Doler, like the Department of Energy, Department of Finance, Department of Budget and Management, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Trade and Industry. So my report will continue in the Department of Agriculture. Now, the Department of Agriculture shall provide information and represent the concern of the agricultural sector with respect to the effects of any supply disruption. So it is the main responsibility of the DA to provide information and represent the concern of any agricultural sector if there is any supply disruption. So it is their duty to provide the information and to provide information and represent the concern of any agricultural sector for them to be prepared if there is this supply disruption will be a problem of this probability to happen. The next is the Department of National Defense or DND shall integrate the proposed plans with the plans of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Now, why is the integration of the DND and the NDRMC? So in terms of calamities or disaster, the DND, by providing support, or example this operational support, the DND through different ways support the NDRMC during the disaster situation. We can say that this includes deploying of personnel or equipment as a support to the the NDRMC in terms of disaster, and also the coordination is very important in works of the DND and the NDRMC to ensure coordination in the disaster response effort, because that is more important during a crisis. The next is the Department of Interior and Local Government shall consult and coordinate with the local government units or the LGUs and the Philippine National Police relative to proposed plans. So in this, that the DILG is responsible for coordination to its local government units or the LGUs by overseeing its LGUs and ensuring that they comply with national disaster management policies, because that is it is the duty of the DILG to it is his function, it is the function of the DILG to ensure that its LGUs or the local government units addresses or they follow the policies of each disaster management policies. And also it provides guidance and support to the LGUs in developing and implementation of local disaster risk reduction and management plans. So the plans, the DILG propose a plans, and it is directly received by the LGUs. The next is the Department of Foreign Affairs, or the DFA, shall provide linkage with the international community for up-to-date information with local government. So in this part, the DFA has a relation with other countries like diplomatic relation, and it manages relation to secure support from other countries. And because of that, we have a communication with other countries or relation. We can be updated as up-to-date information on global development. And also it is a very big help, especially in terms of support, because it involves negotiation and facilitating aid agreements. So by that, there's an exchange of support from our countries and other countries, assistance or maybe other technical support in terms of disaster response and recovery. Next is the National Economic and Development Authority, or the NEDA. So the NEDA shall advise on a possible socio-economic impact of proposed plans and ensure its alignment with the overall economic plans. So it involves the integrating disaster risk reduction and management into national development planning. So NEDA, or the National Economic and Development Authority, is shall have a critical role in advising on the socio-economic impact. As what I've said, it becomes a national development planning, and it ensures that disaster resilience is factored into economic and infrastructure planning. Next is the National Security Council, or the NSC, shall give advice on matters on affecting national security and energy security. So the national security is mainly responsible for strategic oversight, or merely it provides the strategic oversight and coordination for national security matters, which include disaster risk management and also it involves the collaboration and communication with different agencies or department. Next is the National Coast Watch Council, or the NCWC. So the NCWC is a central interagency mechanism for a coordinated and coherent approach on maritime issues and maritime security operation towards enhancing governance in the country maritime domain. So the NCWC is a government body in the Philippines tasked with ensuring the effective management and protection of the country's maritime domain, and it is coordinate and integrates with the efforts of various government agencies. So there is a collaboration or the communication of different agencies and department under the NCWC, especially in addressing maritime problems or disputes, security law, and environmental protection. And also it was created in Executive Order number 57 of 2011. So this EO number 57 of 2011, also known as Maritime Domain Awareness. So it is in charge of formulating strategic direction and policy guidance for National Coast Watch system. So it is this EO is very important because it is what makes the NCWC, and because of this it becomes important because the NCWC can now enhance maritime situational awareness and strengthen maritime law enforcement capabilities and promoting sustainable use development of marine resource. And that is the NCWC. Then the members of the NCWC, according to the National Crisis Management Corps Manual 2012, the NCWC is composed of the following. So this the chairperson is the executive secretary. The executive secretary of the NCWC is si Lucas Birsamin. And its members are the Department of Transportation and Communication, the Department of National Defense, the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Department of Interior and Local Government, the Department of Justice, the Department of Energy, the Department of Finance, the Department of Environment and Natural Resource, and the Department of Agriculture. I will no longer discuss this part because it is already discussed in the responsibilities of IECC members. So I'll directly discuss the support agencies. So the supporting agencies of the NCWC are the Philippine Navy, Philippine Coast Guard, Philippine National Police Maritime Group, National Prosecution Service and Department of Justice, Bureau of Customs, Bureau of Immigration, National Bureau of Investigation or the NBI, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, and Philippine Center of Transnational Crime. So the supporting agencies are different agencies and department, but their duties are mainly like they are the same. Like the Philippine Navy, Philippine Coast Guard, Philippine National Police Maritime Group, they are more focused on the security of the maritime domain or the security of the borderline. Then in like the Bureau of Customs, Bureau of Immigration, they are more likely responsible in taking action in the importation and exportation of products in and outside our country. So more on sabotable naman siya. Then power and function of the NCWC. According to the Section 3 Executive Order number 57 2011. So in this, the first is provide strategic direction and policy guidelines for NCWS or the National Coast Watch System, Maritime Security Operation, and multi-national and cross-border cooperation on maritime security. So the NCWS or the National Coast Watch System is under the NCWC or the National Coast Watch Council. So the NCWC provides strategic direction and policy. It is a policy making body for the NCWS to conduct operation on maritime security and other multinational and cross-border cooperation in as long as it involves the maritime security. Conduct periodic review on maritime security operation and render periodic reports to the President and the National Security Council or the NSC. So the NCWC it reviews all the operations conducted by NCWS and other departments or agencies, and those reports are rendered to the President and the National Security Council. Recommend to the President policies and procedures. So the NCWC has the ability or it has the power in managing security and making policies and rendering it to the President for having more complete or effective policies in securing our maritime domain. Harmonized capability plans and funds required. So any missions regarding maritime security, the NCWC has the ability to propose plans or give plans and provide funds. Then harmonize and coordinate the rules and relationship of different government agencies. So it is more specific on the coordination and collaboration or the integral communication of different agencies and department, especially for those their field is on the maritime security or maritime domain. Next is the Crisis Management Support Secretariat. The Crisis Management Support Secretariat or the CMSS of the Office of the National Advisor or the ONSA serve as a support secretariat of the Executive Committee and or the National Crisis Management Committee and the Secretariat to the subcommittee. So this is the task of the support secretariat. Maintain a database. Oh, let me explain first what is the more on the duties of the crisis management support secretariat. So it is typically involves in dedicated team for responsible for coordinating responses to crisis or emergency within an organization. So the secretariat often plays a critical role in planning, communication, and execution of crisis management strategies, ensuring that it ensures that all resources and personnel are effectively mobilized and that communication lines remain open during a crisis. So it is the support secretariat has a critical role in planning in the crisis management. So its tasks are follows: maintain a database for all interagency department contingency plans. So this means that crisis planning and preparedness. So the support secretariat it recognize any data, and it's the support secretariat conduct reviews or assessment, updating crisis management plans, and conducting risk assessment, and ensuring readiness through any possible problem or disasters. Then advocating agency department collaboration are more likely from the coordination and communication with different, because it becomes a central information and coordination between other departments and agencies, ensuring the accurate and timely response. Leading interagency department training and rehearsal. So this means that they conduct trainings and or advancement in trainings in so that the response would be more effective, and also by providing the equipment in addressing threats, that it will be more effective. Then assist concerned staff of the corp in validating through interagency department simulation exercise. So they conducted simulation exercise or like practical exercise for them to be prepared, and like di na sila baguhan if there is a crisis or the disaster happens. Then let's proceed to the Presidential Situation Room or the PSR. The PSR serves as the National Crisis Management Operation Center for various contingencies and crises. It is managed and operated by the Office of the National Security Advisor through an executive director. So the PSR in the Philippines is facilitated or designed to provide the president and other senior government officials or the what I have said operation center with real-time information and situational awareness on critical national security and emergency issues. So as long when it talks about the national security problem, so the PSR or in this operation center, they gathered that information, and it served as the central hub for monitoring and coordinating responses to crisis and significant events, ensuring that the government can react promptly and effectively. So the PSR, it is more focused in the planning of planning for the, like if there is any problem or crisis to happen, especially if it threatens the national security. So this is the function of the PSR, the Presidential Situation Room. Monitor events, situation and developments that have national security implication, including those with serious diplomatic, political, and peace and order ramification. So mainly says that monitoring and analyzing real-time events and situation related to national security, if it affects the public safety and so the PSR monitor and those situations are develops in this situation. The next is provide current intelligence and crisis support to the president and executive secretary. So it mainly supporting decision making. So the PSR is supporting decision making for the president, the executive secretary. So it becomes intelligence and crisis support to the officials or the PSR. Serve as the primary monitoring, coordination, and communication center of Malacanang. So if there is any classified information like critical or very important information in the Malacanang, the PSR is primary the monitoring, coordination, communication center. So they held those meetings, or I don't know, meetings maybe, or important as long as it involves classified information. Coordinates the collection, verification, and evaluation of highly sensitive information. So in the PSR, they monitor and collect the collection of the highly sensitive information bearing the national security, because it is a very big or serious problem if we talks about threatening the national security. So the PSR is it becomes a collection and verification of evaluation of those information. Establish linkage and coordinates with the various operations, intelligence, and cyber and security agencies government. So establish linkage and coordination. It focuses on the communication, collaboration, integration with different agencies and department through various operation center and civil and security agencies government. So it mainly the effectiveness of their duties in having a good communication with other different organizations and agencies. And lastly, the peace and order. Local level crisis management committees, or the Peace and Order Council, Sub-National Council. So the Peace and Orders Council is organized on national, regional, provincial, city, and municipal levels of government. Lower levels organization of the NPOC take cognizance of responsibilities tasks to their national organs. So the POC, or the Peace and Order Council, it is a sub-national level, typically operates with regional, provincial, local framework in addressing issues, public man or other issues, and these councils are often established to ensure coordinated efforts among various government agencies and connection with law enforcement and other community organization for maintaining peace and order. That's all. I hope you understand my report. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jade Kathleen Baldapan, and this is the continuation of the report of Mr. Seba, which is the Sub-National Councils. The Sub-National Councils are pertain to the following. So, first is the Regional Peace and Order Council. Second is the Provincial Peace and Order Council. Last is City or Municipal Peace and Order Council. But first, I am going to discuss the Regional Peace and Order Council. It is composed of the region's provincial governors, the mayors of the highly urbanized cities, the president of the leagues of municipalities, then the regional counterparts of the departments, office, and agency of the National Peace and Order Council. So, the responsibility of Regional Peace and Order Council is to maintain peace and order in the regional level. So, nag-focus lang yun siya sa mga regional issue. So, yung tag-regional is yung tag-regional is nag-focus siya sa mga issue sa atong lungsod or sa atong city. The next is the Provincial Peace and Order Council, composed siya of the provincial counterparts of the Department of Peace and Agency of National Peace and Order Council. So ngayon, the Provincial Peace and Order Council is nag-focus siya lang po siyang mga province level. So when we say province level is kanang iyara pong priority is kanang ang iyahang gatagan lang po niya responsibilidad is kanang parehas anang mga city or mga barangay mo na siya ang sa Provincial Peace and Order Council. So kung maingon ta ang regional is gibuo siya sa Provincial Peace and Order Council o sa kanang kuan city or municipal council. So kung maingon ta ang Provincial Peace and Order Council is gibuo po siya sa panglungsod. When we say panglungsod, the city and the barangay. Then next is kung moingon tag City and Municipal Peace and Order Council, so it is composed of the provincial counterparts of the department offices and agencies of the National Peace and Order Council. So ang city is gibuo siya sa mga barangay. So when we say city, ang kasagaran mga council, ang council jud ani is ang mayor. Ang mayor, which is ang city and Municipal Peace and Order Council is gibuo pud siya sa mga barangay council. Then mao ni siya ang logo sa Regional Peace and Order Council and the Provincial Peace and Order Council. So mao lang siya logo. And these are the functions of the sub-national councils. First is provide a forum for dialogue and deliberation of major issues and problem affecting peace and order, including insurgency. So, when we say provide a forum for dialogue, so dapat tinabangay sila or mag-share sila mga information na maka-prevent or maka-solve any major issues about sa kanang insurgency or rebellion, para ma-prevent ang rebellion ba or biskan unsa pa na maka-affect sa peace and order sa tuang lugar. So next is recommend measures which will improve or enhance peace and order and public safety in the respective areas of responsibility. When we see recommend measures is mo ni siya dapat is kanang nasilay, just like for example sa Martinez is kanang kasagaran, di ba, ngit-ngit man kayo ng lugar pag mabaktas ka diya. So dapat na sila'y mahatag na mga measures para ma-resolba, para dili na kayo daghang krimen na lugar. Halimbawa, natay curfew hours. Second is dapat ilahang kanang butangan ng mga lights ang kanang dalan para ma-prevent ang mga krimen na mahitabo. So next is the recommend measure to converge and orchestrate internal security operation efforts of civil authorities and agency, military, and office. So when we say orchestrate, means mo siya ang to careful, arrange, or coordinate the elements of a complex situation or project para ma-achieve ang desired outcome. So dapat when we say recommend measure, so mag-recommend tag measure para dali na lang nato mabuhat or ma-arrange na lang nato or ma-organize ang aron nindot ang kanang outcomes or para ma-solusyonan jud natong problema. The next is any moral suasion or recommend sanction against local chief executive who are giving material and political support to the communist rebels. So, kung dapat mga peace officer o police official na kanang nagasuporta sa mga communist rebels is hatagan sila og punishment or hatagan sila og sanction. So, kay dili man pud siya pwede na dili parusahan kay kana na kuan is is dako jud kay siyang problema kay ikaw samantala ikaw pulis ka nya nitabang ka sa kanang communist rebel, so dapat maghatag jud og sanction or parusahan jud ng mga local na mga official na mag-support sa mga communist rebels. The next is monitor the provision of livelihood and infrastructure development programs and projects in the remote, rural, and indigenous population. So, dapat i-monitor jud ang kanang kuan mga livelihood and infrastructure. Dapat ilang i-monitor ni nila kay kung di nila i-monitor, wala sila kabalo. Halimbawa, katuday ng mga taong nasa mga bukid, dili nila mga ginagaan, dili nila ginasuportahan, dili nila ginatag ang mga economics need sa mga tao. Halimbawa, labi na tong mga nasa bukid na ang uban wala ba grado, so dali ra kay mailad sa mga rebelde, so mapasunod na dayo nila. So dapat ilaha jud putong lantaw-lantawon dito o ilahang hatagan og mga needs nila. Then last is perform all other functions assigned by law. The next is the National Peace and Order Council Secretariat. So the NPOC Secretariat handles the administrative and technical activities of the Peace and Order Council, that is organized in the various administrative level of government. It also undertakes liaising and coordination of activities with appropriate agencies of the government. It is headed by the designated Deputy Director General of the National Security Council. So, the NPOC Secretariat, so nag-refer siya sa support unit responsible for assisting and managing the operations of the National Peace and Order Council. So, ang Secretariat kay nag-handle sila sa such organizing meetings, preparing documents, coordinating between various agencies, and ensuring the council's directives and activities. So, muna siya and essentially, it's provide logistic and clerical support para ma-ensure ang smooth function sa NPOC operation. So, muna siya ang National Peace and Order Council Secretariat. So, nag-handle siya ng mga administrative and technical activities. The next is the Regional Director of the Department of Interior and Local Government, which is the DILG. Muna siya dapat ang head sa Regional Peace and Order Council Secretariat. So, muna siya ang head. The next is at the provincial, city, and municipal levels, the Secretariat of the PPOC or CCOC and MPOO, mo siya dapat ang head sa shall be the head by the most senior DILG officer stationed in the province, city, or municipality. In addition, the Secretariat at each level shall be assisted in its function and duties by the regular staff of the Council Chairman. The Barangay Peace and Order Committee. So, according to Executive Order Number 366 of 1996, a Peace and Order Committee in every barangay shall be organized and will serve as the implementing arm of the city municipal Peace and Order barangay level. So, ang Barangay Peace and Order Committee is siya jud ang arm sa city municipal Peace and Order. Membership of the Barangay Peace and Order Council. So, it is composed of the following members. First is the punong barangay. Muna siya ang atong barangay captain. Then, the chairman of the Sangguniang Kabataan. Then, a member of the Lupon Tagapamayapa. A barangay tanod. Then, a public school teacher. Then, a representative of the Interfaith Group. Muna siya ang kanang mga presidente sa inyong simbahan or a senior citizen at least 3 members of existing barangay vis anti-crime or neighborhood watch groups or an NGO representative well known in his community. Last is a PNP officer. Muna siya ang membership of the Barangay Peace and Order Council. So, first jud is katong barangay, ang barangay captain siya man jud siya jud ang pinaka dako og role ani sa Barangay Peace and Order Council, which is siyang magpatupad para walay samok. Then suportahan po siya sa presidente sa sangguniang kabataan para mas ma-prevent pa jud or matuloy-tuloy pa jud ang kapayapaan sa ilang lugar. Or the next is mga barangay tanod. So importante jud pud kayo ng natay barangay tanod kay para kung kuan paggabi is kanang siptita kay may magpatrol sa kuan tagabalay kabalo taon sa mga nahitabo. So mo na siya importante kani sa to ang mga barangay, mo ni sila ang mga Barangay Peace and Order Council na importante jud kay siya sa to ang barangay, which is just like example sa amo ang barangay Makambol, importante kay ni siya. The function of the Barangay Peace and Order Committee. According to the Executive Order Number 366 of 1996, Barangay Peace and Order Committee shall have the following function and responsibilities. So, ang atong barangay is naga-monitor sila o naga-coordinate sa implementation of peace and order programs and project at the barangay level. So, when we serve as an information gathering mechanism, so sila ang maghahatag og information sa mga tao kung kanang just like example na ay kanang mga panghatag or kanang na ay mga parehas anang na ay bagyo or mga important information na anang dili dapat baliwala o halimbawa na kanang kani naiwanti dili magpataka-taka og abri sa inyong balay kay basin na halimbawa na manuktok kana mga information na importante kayo para ang mga tao pod is ma-aware pod sila. The next is monitor and restrict the nefarious activities of criminal elements. So, dapat maga-monitor jud sila permanente sa mga lugar sa ilang barangay o sa mga sitio para ma-prevent nila ang mga criminal activities or mga criminal elements na naka-influensya sa mga tao nga nakabuhat na siya og krimen. The next is identify barangay constituents with strong deviant behavior for referral to appropriate authorities. So, dapat kanang ilang i-identify kung kinsa tong mga tao na kanang na-adjust siya mga deviant behavior para og katong kana na tao is kuan siya sa kanang mga appropriate authorities para patambagan or ma-advisean or matabangan siya. Then, maintain continuing dialogue, close coordination, and effort with the higher levels of peace and order councils and law enforcement units. So, kung ikaw sa katao sa inyong barangay nyo, nakanihibawan na mga nakanihibawan na nahitabo. So, ikaw usa ka tao sa barangay, so imuhang i-report sa barangay para mag-maintain ang peace and order sa tuang barangay. Then, last is formulate plans and recommend such measures which will improve or enhance peace and order and public safety in their area of responsibility. So, mag-formulate po dahil sila og mga plans na kanang just like for example is kanang na sila mga programa na maghimo sila mga programa na maka-improve pa or ma-prevent ang peace and order. Sa halimbawa, na sila mag-conduct silang mga program education sa mga tao. Halimbawa, labi na itong mga wala ng eskwela para dili kayo labi na tong wala kay nag-eskwela. So importante jud kayo na kanang ma-improve nila ang peace and order sa ka area sa ilang lugar kay mao man na ilang responsibility. The next is monitor, coordinate, and supervise the operation of all community based anti-crime movements within the barangay. So, sila ang naga-monitor, naga-coordinate, ug naga-supervise sa mga operation sa community based anti-crime movements. So, dapat ilahan yung i-monitor kung halimbawa na pinag-drugs ana na lugar. So, sila gihapon ang kanagkuan, sila gihapon ang maduulan party ana. The next is the make periodic assessment of the prevailing peace and order situation in the respective areas and responsibility, and submit report with appropriate recommendation to the higher level peace and order council. The next is perform such other function which may be assigned by higher level peace and order council. So, mo ni siya mga function sa barangay peace and order committee, which is very important kaayo sa tuwa. O kita pod na mamamayan sa tong barangay is makasuporta po ta sa tong mga barangay council sa paagi sa mga informasyon na makahatag ng mga special information sa tong barangay or sa mga tao sa barangay na makatabang para maka-prevent og kanang mga krimen or biskan unsa pa diha na delikado para sa mga tao sa atong barangay. And that's all for today. Thank you.